Hello everyone, this is Food is a Conversation Alumni Edition, session 69. These sessions are hosting our alumni, our ecosystem members who attended any of the educational programs organized by the Future Food Institute over the past years. These can be summer schools or the Food Innovation Master Program, and very recently most of the participants who we are hosting here are actually climate shaper bootcamps. Currently, we are running the third edition of the digital bootcamp, which will end or conclude with a huge hackathon at the end of the weekend. Hi, Mariasole, how are you?
Hi, Julia. I'm good, thanks. And you?
Very good, thank you. I just quickly finished the intro and we can jump right in. So it will be a very casual conversation of 20 to 30 minutes. I encourage everyone to please ask questions. And what you can expect is to get to know our alumni, our climate shaper a bit. How did they end up joining our network? What were their key takeaways from the learning program? And what is their connection to the food system? What actions are they taking? So if you don't have time to stay with us the entire time, don't worry, because we will post it on IGTV and also on our YouTube channel. So you will be able to watch it along with the other 68 sessions we already hosted. And I can tell you we have many more to come. So now, without any further ado, I would like to ask my guest today to please introduce yourself, tell us where you're dialing in from, and how did you end up on the digital bootcamp last winter?
Okay. Well, again, thank you for inviting me here. I'm dialing from Berlin. My name is Mariasole Calbi. I'm originally from Italy, but I've been living in Berlin since 2017. And I came here to do a PhD in forest ecology, and I'm still here. And basically, how I find out about the Future Food Bootcamp was when I was searching for opportunities to make an impact in the in addressing the climate crisis, specifically in my case, because oftentimes during my PhD work, I work with tropical forests, and I do a lot of theoretical ecology, but also, I mean, field ecology, but I have the feeling often that I'm not being impactful, at least in my immediate surroundings or in a practical way, because of course the paper publishing is not an immediate impact, you would say. So when I was searching for opportunities, I stumbled upon the FFI website, and I found the bootcamp opportunity, and I thought it was just great, so captivating. And I always had an interest on food as a good Italian as I am, of course, and also in like food sustainability and different ways of food preserving or cooking or harvesting that might be more sustainable than what the big supply are providing us. So I thought, why not joining and see what they are saying there.
Was your learning experience? It was a digital 4-week part-time program. How do you see it complemented your previous studies? And did that encourage you to take more action or show you the way how you can become more active? So what would you say to someone who is interested in how to imagine the bootcamp itself?
Well, yeah, well, first of all, the digital form that we had to do this year, I think has a lot of shortcomings as it lacks the human contact, but it has a lot of advantages because, especially for example, in the local discoveries part of the bootcamp, I was so excited because I could like on one day attend a local discovery from India, and then the following day get to know an organic farmer from Bergamo, and then the day after going to I don't know, South Africa. So it was very exciting, the kind of virtual trip that it allowed us to do. And apart from the local discovery that I thought they were genius, I really enjoyed the the multidisciplinary thinking, and also the fact that I'm sorry, the Berlin weather is not making me a favor. Um, so I really enjoyed like the multidisciplinarity, as I was saying, and especially the combination of design thinking, ecosystem mapping, and then the different tracks that also the bootcamp was offering. I specifically attended the Climate Smart Kitchen because I really enjoy experimenting in the kitchen, and it was super exciting to listen to Jose, for example, like just speaking about a new way of making salami with miso, like the weirdest stuff. So I really enjoyed it. And as a scientist, an ecologist, I'm often confined into my learning environment, and I tend to speak only with other ecologists. And like most of the time, we share the same point of view, and we're aligned, and there's not much debate going on. Whereas during the bootcamp, I had the chance to discuss with the economist or designer or an entrepreneur. So it's super enriching, like the convergence of different points of view.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is an added value of the program because you don't only listen to the so-called experts or speakers in the classes, but you do have the participants who also have different perspectives of the food system, might face the same issues or food system problems, but have different approaches to tackle them. So I think it definitely is a great peer-to-peer learning as well. And so I mentioned at the beginning that we are concluding now our third edition of Digital Bootcamp, and the final week is all about the hackathon and the challenges what the teams need to work on and address. And your team was actually pretty successful in your batch. So could you please tell a bit about the challenge, what you were trying to address, and what was the solution, what came out? And I'm curious if there are any plans with this idea still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the hackathon was super intense, as the participants in the current bootcamp will soon find out. But for my teams, we were the team Food Vision, which is also the name of the project we came out. And our challenge was, if I can phrase it correctly, was how to connect the consumer to the environmental impact of the food they're consuming. So it was quite a broad topic, and we had a lot of insightful discussions the first day and many ideas. But then we went for one very groundbreaking idea, I would say, because it's completely unfamiliar for me and from all the other participants, but we thought it might be the most impactful and surprising also. So we decided to go for a TV show format called Food Vision, of course, which would have had the aim to make some teams within a local community and let them compete against each other on a challenge that would have involve how to make the food system more sustainable in their surroundings. So let's imagine like a challenge-based TV show in which teams get assigned like a topic for instance food waste, and then they have to come up with a local-based solution or a project or a whatever effort they could make to better the way their community is handling food waste, and propose it to the jury of experts, and then the experts decide who's the better team, who's the best team, and then the best team gets some cash, hopefully, and then some funding to realize their project. And it's all like community-based and really community building oriented as well. So yeah, the idea is great. And we're going forward with that. We have been discussing a lot about, for example, how to include the entertainment element into the structure of each episode, because of course people would not want to watch something that is boring, even though it has the best intentions. So it's a lot of facing many challenges, as none of us is actually familiar with how the TV work. But yeah, we're going forward, and now we're a bit on hold because our pilot episode was supposed to be shoot in Cape Town University, as one of our team members has a strong connection with the student environment there. But we didn't plan the the pandemic development in the last month, and of course it cannot be online as it is like a character interaction based show, at least in theory. And also there have been some protests in the Cape Town University that have led to an escalation of violence. So now it's a bit tricky, the situation there, at least as Desigan said, is we should just wait a little bit more to hope that the situation gets better, both in terms of corona and in terms of the protests.
Oh, wow. So many factors, right? I feel like that also represents the complexity of the system and how, you know, we started with the food system-based challenge, and going forward with it, there are so many other things what you also have to face in order to make something work, right? But this is also a shout out to everyone who has experience in television and organizing all those shows. But people sit down every evening in front of the TV to watch, not naming any of them, but they somehow connect with the people. So we need to find for this Food Vision show as well, that language, that excitement element, what will make everyone sit down in front of their television every evening and learn how they get inspired, how to get active and make more conscious food choices in their own local context.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
can't wait to see this evolving over the next few months. Hopefully, you know, as COVID cases will also lower, you will have higher chances to shoot the first episodes. Um, so you mentioned already that you are a scientist, and I would like to understand, what do you think from all those? You said at the beginning, yeah, because you know, by writing papers, I don't really feel like I have an impact. I do believe you do have an impact because there are people who are reading your work. It might not be such an tangible outcome immediately, or it's not an impact what you can directly see, but you definitely do. So now, combining different experiences and also your PhD, how do you think you can, as act toward conservation and biodiversity?
Hmm. Well, yeah, that's a big question. I'm not sure I
I
have
have
the
to
answer.
agree.
I have many tentative ways. But yes, as you said, I was really looking for ways how to be more impactful. And I think definitely by attending the bootcamp, I have some more ideas. And I think my way might be the mixing of different disciplines or kind of connecting disciplines. Because I have an ecological background, so I know how like a forest works or an ecosystem works and who eats who and so on. But at the end of the day, I'm not delivering that directly to the community I'm living in. If I, for example, if I don't do science communications the right way, or if I don't actively engage in science communication. So I think one way for sure might be getting better at communication of science. In the first place, it could be my work, but it could be many other aspects of the climate crisis or ecological networks. And another way I found, I think I was inspired by some of the members of the bootcamp, was to get into agroecology. And I don't know if the audience is familiar with it, but agroecology is a conjunct of practices, agricultural practices that aim um, to preserve the soil, preserve the biodiversity, preserve the agricultural ecosystem, the human ecosystem, and the social structure around rural environments, while providing great harvests and good quality food and food security for everyone who's involved. So it sounds super ambitious, and it is, but it's actually possible. And so I put myself into a intensive course of agroecology right after the bootcamp because I really enjoy learning. And so yeah, I wonder if I could get some project to work on in agroecology. That would be great, because at the same time you're assuring food safety to everyone. is involved, and also you're preserving the biodiversity, which is my main mission, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fascinated by the concept, and we had one of the projects or initiatives also introduced during the bootcamp, Preta Terra from Brazil, and they actually talk. The first time when I heard about them, were talking on the Food for Earth Day last year when we had a marathon, and they were in my batch of when I was moderating, and I remember them really stating that the concept or the principles of agroecology can be implemented in any environment. So even in a city environment, you can recreate that ecosystem. You just need to understand what is the context and the boundaries what you have. But it is something what can be designed to the different places, and that I find definitely interesting, because that could be like a wider solution to implement. Yeah. Do you actually know about any projects here in Berlin? What is trying to work on this?
I don't know about any project working specifically with agroecology, although there are many permaculture urban gardens. So permaculture is kind of neighboring, even it's inside agroecology. No one really understands that, but they basically do the same thing. And also I know about the Feld Food Forest project. Even though I'm not super familiar with it, but I think they want to create a food forest in the Tempelhof park.
Okay.
So that's very admirable, and I really hope they make it through. I'm sure there's plenty of people doing agroecology in Brandenburg, but I'm just not.
Not there
I
yet. You're
haven't
still
been there
collecting
yet.
the information. So once you are equipped with the knowledge, then you can maybe join in practice. Is that also a digital learning what you are doing now?
Yes, I finished it. Yes, it was also a digital
Ah,
course.
okay. Okay. Interesting. So I think this answer, or like the solution about or action what you can take, kind of leads into the final question I have, and that's, how do you imagine your preferred food future? And here I always tell everyone, you have multiple options. You can go completely utopistic and just tell what you think would be the best, disregarding everything what is going on right now. But you can also be realistic and say, okay, but these are the boundaries, and let's face the reality. This is how it would work. So it's up to you. You can share both versions.
Okay, well, I might go realistic.
Okay.
So, my ideal food future would be, I'm sorry, one in which the question, for example, is not how do we grow a papaya tree in Germany, but should we grow a papaya tree in Germany? Um, in which like there is an ecological thinking behind every product that arrives to our table, and also that we are able to see that ecological network that brought the product to us. And it's happening. I mean, I'm not. That's why I'm not utopistically, because there's many efforts into that at the moment, like tracing the coffee productions at all times, and also ensuring like fair salary to coffee harvesters and so on. So I think it's happening, maybe a little bit slower than what would be adequate. But yes, I have faith. And yeah,
So
also I
if you
really.
need to give some advice to average consumers, how are you seeking this information about the food what you are eating currently? What are the food decisions what you are making on a daily basis?
Hmm, well, I'm almost fully vegetarian, and so it's easier. I don't have to worry about where does the meat come from, which is always very shady somehow to find that information. But of course, the seasonal and local applies all the time. But what I really find, which also stimulating, is like researching about an ingredient a kind of a fruit, or vegetables, or whatever ingredients. I mean, first of all, I like to go to the Latin name, and then I like to go back to where was it originally domesticated, for example, where does it grow nowadays, and then of course also the nutrients that you can find. So like a really bit of research we can be done on Wikipedia. I mean, it doesn't have to be like super thoughtful, just because I really like to know where does it come from. And I think that's a nice exercise. And then you start to connect the dots, because if that ingredient was, I don't know, domesticated in India, why people are eating it in Canada? Maybe it might be right. Okay, there's nothing wrong in principle, but like, how did it get there? Why? How? When? Is it
There is a lot
okay
of
or is it not?
history with those ingredients also traveling around the globe, that's for sure. And finally, you also mentioned that you like to experiment and you're also into fermentation and things. So I remember you also shared very nice experiments with your fellows during the boot camp. So what is the latest things what you are fermenting in the kitchen? So if someone would come over now, what would be fine?
Ooh. I have a stinky room waiting for guests. No, fermentation is amazing. Now I'm doing preserved lemons, water kefir. I have many different krauts in the fridge, because the great thing about fermentation, at least like lacto fermentation with vegetables, is that you do them when you have a lot of vegetables, and then you just forget about them for months. They only get better. So it's great. I don't have to worry about eating all those jars now. I can wait a couple of months more. And also I'm making miso, and yeah, I'm growing mushrooms at home. That's not related, but it's also a project in the kitchen.
Wow. So what is do you call it the base for your mushrooms? Is it
The
something else
substrate.
like coffee grind? Just checking in.
Yeah, that would be great. Honestly, I started this because I wanted to understand better how that works, and if there's potential to use some of the waste we generate to cultivate mushroom. And there's definitely is, as you said, coffee grounds are used to grow, for example, oyster mushrooms and other species. But now I'm just starting, so I order a substrate kit, which is wood chips, I think. And it's a nice block. It comes in a bag, and then you have just to water it. And then after 2 weeks, you have mushrooms. So it's
Oh,
really just
interesting.
a basic step towards mushroom cultivating. But
Okay. Maybe you should photo document step by step. How many days do you need to wait till you get your first mushrooms, what you can harvest?
well, in case of shiitake, it was 2 weeks, and we had a lot of
Okay.
shiitake. So many shiitake.
Nice. Very
Mm,
interesting. All right. So, Mariasole, thank you so much for sharing your insights and plans and everything with us. I'm very
thank you.
curious to see how Food Vision goes along and see the actions what you take in ecology in the future. For the audience, if you joined us only now, you didn't miss anything because the conversation will be posted on IGTV and also tomorrow on our YouTube channel along with the other conversations. And stay tuned because the next conversation will be hosted on Thursday morning, 8:30 a.m. Central European Time. Thank you so much for
Okay,
this lovely conversation. See you very soon. Bye.
bye.